ancestors in 1619 was built to keep us blind instead of set us free. Whitewash gospel, slave ship theology taught obedience instead of liberty. Changed the name and changed the face. Told us truth had to fit their race, but now the veil falling from my eyes and the real faith starting to rise.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel Reclaiming My Identity. I am excited today. We have a wonderful show in store for you. I have the privilege today of interviewing Dr. Sidney Freeman Jr. Dr. Sidney Freeman Jr. Man, listen, let's get right into it. First of all, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us some background on you.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. You didn't know this, but I'm a fan of your work, and just to have the opportunity to have sat in on one of your lectures was a blessing to my life and has grown me tremendously. But with that being said, I've had the privilege over the last 6 years to have led a organization that I founded, the Liberation Movement, where its mission and goal is to empower the Black community through educational initiatives. And so some of the things that we've worked on is developing something called decolonizing the Black mind, where we go through a 5-step process that leads to Black sovereignty. The goal is that once we decolonize our minds, or get people to understand their history, who they are in Christ, after that we go through an abolition and a liberatory process, leading to sovereignty, Black sovereignty. And so that's our goal. And even if, how could I say it? More direct terms, we've been focusing in on Black institution building more recently. And so how can we strengthen Black institutions on multiple levels? And so that's what we're passionate about.
Amen. So where? Tell me, where did this? How did you birth this? Where did this thing come from? How did it all start?
Yes. So in 2020, there was a reckoning, and a part of that was, yes, George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. But even in my denominational context, which is Seventh Day Adventism, there was a question that many of us were asking around, where was our leadership? Where were Black leaders and other leaders within our denominational structure speaking up and speaking out against racial injustice and anti-Black violence,
Hmm.
and by the state and otherwise? And it seemed that these leaders were silent, which caused me and other young leaders to ask some very pointed questions about, should we remain in our denominational community because of the lack of engagement on these issues. And so I have reached out to the founder of the Adventists for Social Justice group, and I said I would love to have a conversation about how we can decolonize the Black Adventist mind. And
Okay.
so the leader of that organization challenged me and said, why don't you facilitate that conversation? This was at the time, 2020, people were just starting to fool around with things like StreamYard and Restream and all those kinds of things. But I was kind of intimidated because I didn't know how those things worked. I would go on different platforms, but did not have the background to do that.
Hmm.
In short order, after that challenge to me, we were able to engage some people who had expertise in that area, and then we And then we had a program called Decolonizing the Black Adventist Mind, where we had different denominational pastors and
Mm.
thought leaders, and it went viral in its own way.
Okay.
And because we were asking questions and speaking frankly about some of the frustrations in the church, even challenging the idea of having a white Jesus, and all those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that, there were several individuals that approached me and said, "We need to scale this up. We believe in what you're doing." And from there, it's grown, and I want to just share some other things that we've been able to do.
Yes, please.
We've been able to create multiple scholarships for African American high school students.
Mm-hmm.
We've been able to develop a Black theology book grant for those who would desire to connect, Black theology to particular theological ideas.
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, we've had we've sponsored different programs around how to work with and strengthen Black businesses. And so our goal is, through our educational initiatives, is to really empower our community spiritually, psychologically, socially, and all other kinds of leads.
Okay. Okay. So, why do you think it is important, um, for us as a people to liberate, for our minds to be liberated? Why do you think that's so important, especially nowadays?
Yeah, so I think it's important that our minds be liberated, because our very survival depends on it. And so one of the conversations I've been having online and in other spaces is the importance of us understanding who we are, so that we then can work together. We can work together as a group of people, for our own survival and advancement. I believe if you don't decolonize your mind, what begins to happen is that you will embrace individualism and whiteness, and so
Mm.
everything that you will do will be in reference to whiteness. And so recently, I have developed this concept called Vanta Black leadership and Vanta Black theology. Vanta Black is a pigment which is considered the darkest pigment that you can have. And
Okay.
so, by saying having a Vanta Black leadership or a Vanta Black theology, it's saying that we're not going to reference ourselves against whiteness. We're going to look at particular solving issues through a black lens, a self sufficiency type of lens, a sovereign lens.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm getting excited over here, man. You preaching, you preaching. Come on now. Okay. So tell me what, first thing is, what does that look like?
Mhm.
Practically, day to day. Tell me, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I think the first, going back to that model that started out as the Black transformation model, but now is the Vanta Black model, our ecosystem, as we
Okay.
call it. We start with the decolonizing of the mind, and then we go to abolition. And so we move from abolition to liberation. And when we're thinking about that in practical terms, one, it's when we talk about decolonizing the mind, it is, what are the things that we're reading,
Okay.
right? What are the things that we're watching? It's what's the information that you're taking in.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's about how are you applying that information. So when I think about the decolonizing the Black mind curriculum that we've developed, it is one where it's not just giving you head information, But what we've tried to do is give you practical application of that information. So just knowing that Eden, Eden started in Africa, right,
Mm-hmm.
or was positioned in Africa is not enough. It's why is that important? Why is that important? How does that shape the ways in which you think about yourself? I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
give you an example. I'm a scholar of higher education leadership. So I talk about the importance of, college and university presidents and how universities work.
Mm-hmm.
And so uh, I am considered one of the top scholars related to studying historically black colleges and universities, in particular their presidents.
Okay.
And one day, I someone reached out to me to let me know that I had a couple people in our family that had been professors and academic administrators. I said, wow, because those in my immediate family
Mm-hmm.
had not had degrees. And so I was like, wow, I had actually learned this at a funeral
Okay.
on my mother's side. And I said, well, let me look into this. And this is important because I would go all over the world saying, uh, I'm the first generation, I'm the first person in my family to earn a degree. And there's a certain energy that comes with that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're proud of it, but you're saying, I'm trailblazing in this way.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I happened to get back to my university after the funeral and do some Google search and other searches, and I found out one that Claude B. Dansby is a distant relative, and Claude B. Dansby was Martin Luther King's math teacher at Morehouse College.
Wow.
Not only that, he has a building on the campus.
Oh wow.
Then then I learned there was another family. So my mom's family name is Dansby. I go and I do some research around this gentleman by the name of Baldwin Buddy Dansby.
Okay.
He was the first president of Jackson College, now Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi.
Mm.
Do you know how that made me feel? That made me feel like, oh, I come from educators.
Yes.
I
Yes.
come from leaders. Who would
Mm-hmm.
have thought that someone in their family line would be a scholar, would be not only a scholar but an administrator, and would do the work that I do?
Mm-hmm.
And really quick, um, I more recently found out in the last five years within our denominational structure, there is a president of a conference, South Atlantic Conference, a former president by the name of Ralph P.A.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, my paternal side, my dad's side, his mother is PA.
Okay.
We ended up finding out that we are part of the same family tree. And
Wow.
people would come up to me because my last name is Freeman. People would
Mm-hmm.
come up to me and they would say, are you related to the Freemans here or the Freemans there? I was like, no, I don't have any leaders in my family. I don't come from any premier. But then I find out in my line that I have royalty in my line,
All right. All
right?
right.
I say that to say, when we talk about, I'm going back to this decolonizing the
Yeah.
mind
Yeah.
and why it's so important. It's important for us to know who we are, that you don't have to reference white people.
Yes.
I say that I also say this because I got some pushback on a recent article when I was talking about the importance of narrative. There's so many narratives that are out there that center white folks. So in this particular article, I am challenging our denomination to not center the story, the narrative that black people needed uh, the the white superstructure of
Mm-hmm.
Seventh Day Adventism to
Mm-hmm.
develop their own sovereign entities, like
Okay.
what we call regional conferences
Mm-hmm.
or magazines like um,
Message.
Message Magazine
Mm-hmm.
or Pine Forge Academy, which is one of our our schools or our universities, Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama. I think it's really, really important that when we start decolonizing our minds, what we need to do is actually, and putting it in action, is shifting the narrative
Mm-hmm.
and not centering white folks, but looking at it through that Vanta Black lens, where it's a self empowerment lens, a sovereign lens, so that we can build upon that for the advancement of our community. So a
So
long answer to a quick question that you gave me.
no, that's all right. So I wanna before we kind of move into the seminar, I wanna e- expand on the pushback. Tell me about the pushback that you have received um, since 2020,
Hmm.
since starting this, whether it be in your denominational structure, whether it's in your church, with people you know, whatever may be, this focus on identity and history and liberation, all of that. Unpack that for us.
Yes. So a lot of the pushback is not direct. What will
Okay.
happen is that you will no longer be invited on particular platforms. Uh,
Mm,
the pushback, the pushback will be that you will submit a periodical to a organization that that you are trying to empower in certain ways, and
hmm.
those leaders, the the leadership may not be one that is their minds may
Decolonized.
not be decolonized, and so they won't publish your
Right.
work, and you won't know until the periodical comes out that your article hit the the floor. Yeah,
File 13. It
yeah,
was too
yeah,
black.
yeah.
It was too black,
It
basically.
was too it's too black. But I think the great part about the liberation movement is
Hmm.
that we are committed to creating our own tables, our own platform, and
Yes.
partnering with other black owned businesses. And so
Hmm.
that's really the focus of our work. So I think that we don't center white folks. So there were early on there was pushback around inclusion of other groups in our movement as far as areas of emphasis. And while we love everyone,
Hmm.
I don't think that is wrong for us to focus in on our people. And so we've made a concerted effort and focus for our people in our work. So yes, you're going to get pushback,
Hmm.
but and some people will think the work that you're doing is too narrow, but
Yeah.
your people will the people that understand
Hmm.
and desire this type of information and empowerment will be drawn to that work.
Yeah. Man, listen, I know what you mean. I have received, pushback with this message. So I feel you. So tell me what motivated you to come to the seminar. So we had one of my former colleagues, Dr. Myron Edmonds, does a men's empowerment conference every year in Atlanta, the Men's Winning Circle. Check him out. menswinningcircle.com, I believe, and he asked me to do a presentation there on you know identity,
Mhm.
black identity, our history in scripture, and you decided to come and check out that seminar. So tell me, what motivated you to come to check it out?
Have you ever thought about traveling to Africa but told yourself it was too expensive, too far away, or too undeveloped? Many of us have. At Reclaiming Our Identity Travel, we're changing the narrative. Because South Africa isn't undeveloped, it's vibrant, modern, and deeply rooted in history and culture. It's a place of breathtaking beauty, powerful stories, and people whose warmth and resilience shape the experience in ways no brochure ever could. On this journey, you'll walk the streets of Soweto, experience the energy of Johannesburg, and engage the culture in ways that deepen understanding and challenge old assumptions. You'll enjoy world class food, shaped by generations of tradition, creativity, and global influence. And you'll connect with the people whose lives and stories bring the country to life. Our group tours are intentionally designed to make traveling to Africa accessible and affordable without cutting corners or compromising the experience. We believe meaningful travel shouldn't be reserved for luxury travelers, but attainable for all who are willing to take the journey. South Africa is waiting. Are you ready?
Yeah, so the main thing is I believe that although I have some knowledge, I don't have all knowledge. So it's important to for iron to sharpen iron. There's always more to learn, and that was aligned with where I am now. Let me give you a little more background
Yeah.
on me to connect to this question. So the liberation movement started in the fall of 2020, but I found going into late 2021, early 2022, that there were a lot of people that were starting not necessarily to go to church, and they were trying to make sense of where they were spiritually. And because I had a platform and I was speaking about theological themes and spiritual issues, people would begin to ask me some theological questions, and I felt underprepared. Now I had some thoughts. I had gone through Christian education from pre-K
Hmm.
through undergrad, but there were some things in which I felt that I was underprepared to address. And
Hmm.
so what I did was I enrolled in two programs. One was a program at Theological Seminary in Lexington, Kentucky, and their African American Church Studies program.
Okay.
And then I went through a program of public theology at Johnson C. Smith Theological Seminary, and so building those tools to be a public theologian.
Okay.
I call myself a lay public theologian, and so um, both of those gave me the combination of kind of that black centered perspective on
Hmm.
spirituality, but also gave me some theological grounding.
Okay.
But I came to your workshop in part because I there's always things that I think that I can learn, and I did learn with regard to in particular what we call West Africa now, and I'm looking forward as I have some of your resources now to be able to draw on that to enhance the work that we do here at the Liberation Movement.
Okay, so what do you think, what would you say is the biggest takeaway or piece of information, evidence, um, from the seminar that made you stop and think, hey, this stuff is important?
We are the Hebrews. I mean, if you just start right there, right? Because that's going to be a contested thing right there, and then to say, oh, in West Africa, not when you're when we think about Christianity and Judaism and those types of things, we we think about one modern day Palestine, or some would
Hmm.
say Israel, or we would talk about maybe Egypt, or um, or it's coming to me. It's coming to me. Ethiopia, right? So
Hmm.
we would be talking about kind of Eastern Africa. So when you connected it to
Hmm.
Western Africa, that really expanded my understanding and perspective. And as after I attended your seminar, there were other resources that came across my desk and screen that
Hmm.
reaffirmed some of the things that you shared. And so I think it's so important for those in particular in the affiliated with the Seventh Day Adventist context,
Hmm.
have access to this type of knowledge, especially as we are those who engage in many practices that align with Judaism,
Hmm.
whether it is our diet or even day of worship. And
Hmm.
so when you can make those types of connections, I think that is powerful. It's a powerful argument to help those who are probably more uh, they have been socialized to be um, quote unquote Christian first
Hmm.
and then
Yes.
black,
Hmm.
versus seeing those things intertwined. I think that has been my argument, is that you can't disentangle my Christianity from my blackness. Those things are intertwined. So if you're trying to make those a dichotomy, I reject that idea um, off the top.
So kind of staying with that same in that same theme. So what, after you have um learned some of this information and you've had some things come across your desk and you studied a little bit more, what has been, I guess, the feedback, if there has been any,
Mhm.
or pushback with what you have learned, um if and when you have shared any of it?
Yes. So I have not publicly shared it.
Mm-hmm.
I am still uh processing this information is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I have found is that whenever someone says Dr. Freeman, there's a different level of expectation regarding um,
Whatever it is.
whatever I
Yeah.
say that comes after
Yes.
that. So I need to
Yes.
have that. I need to be rooted myself
Yes.
uh, before I would go and say I'm an expert in that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think you provided, because you took a presentation that probably would have been 6 hours, and you tried to do it within an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was a lot right there. So I'm unpacking some of the books and resources that that the liberation movement purchased on my behalf, and I'm looking forward at some point to use that as a jumping off point for some of the other things that I may do in the future through my nonprofit.
So tell me the connection that you see between decolonizing the black mind and us exploring the possibility or the understanding that we are the people of the book. Tell me how, what is that connection, and what do you think, um, that what do you think that's going to bring to the table when you are presenting, um, when you're talking about decolonizing the mind,
Mhm.
as you're talking about Vanta Black, all of this, how do you think that's going to help those who you are speaking to?
I think that becomes the foundation. I actually think that becomes the foundation. And just going back to my last statement, because so many, uh, they're going to go back. They're going to go back to the Bible, right? And
Hmm.
they're going to say, how does this connect to the Bible? How does this connect to Genesis? How does this connect to the cross? And the ways in which you presented it made that clear. And
Hmm.
so, for those who are Christian, now our work is has been presented generally in ways in which those who are Christian believers or not can access that information.
Hmm.
But right now, I'm just talking about those who are believers in Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
I believe um, that by presenting this information provides a great foundation for which people to kind of understand their role and identity as believers, right?
Hmm.
And I think for those who are not necessarily believers, it does give them some idea of, like, you know our who we are and our identity didn't just start as slavery.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
started on the continent, and we were royalty, and we are royalty.
That's right.
and
That's
so
right.
and so I think that it could be a powerful tool regarding our self identity as we move forward.
So what do you say in the little bit, or the the quantity that you've learned, whatever it is that
Hmm.
you've learned? What do you say, or how do you balance, or what is your understanding of us being the people, being a part of quote unquote Christianity, but then you have those who are on the other spectrum
Hmm.
who learn about who they are, and they may distance themselves from Christianity because, hey, we're Hebrews, so we should
Yeah.
be, Black Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that process? That um,
Yes. So I have been clear that um, my work is not the work of apologetics
okay.
or proselytizing people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't speak ill of people who feel a calling towards apologetics. And when I say apologetics, for those in your audience, I am stating that I'm not a person who is defending the faith in such a way in which I'm becoming argumentative and
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to prove that you need to believe like I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that I am a seed planter. My mentor, Minister Ronnie Vanderhorst, said, "Your job is to seed plant,
Mm-hmm.
right? You plant the seed. There are going to be those that receive it and those that don't. Uh, and ultimately, our Hebrew Israelite brothers are our brothers and sisters. Are our brothers and sisters.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Look, we actually probably have much more in common than we do differences. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that the reality is, if things keep on going the way they're going in the United States and across the world, we're going to have
Mm-hmm.
to put all of these uh, ideas of separation down, whether it is different religions or
Mm-hmm.
even more specific, different denominations and ideologies. Let's whiteness won't care in their
That's right.
attack of us, and
That's right.
so that's how I think about that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because it's the reason why I asked is because there are, and what's interesting is that, so the same time that you began to that you began the liberation movement in 2020 is the same time that I began that I wrote my first book.
Wow.
And it was at that time that my mind began to open. So I think, and this is, of course, this is during COVID. And
Hmm.
so I think, just speaking to you and hearing you say this, I think during that time a lot of people began to think and contemplate and brainstorm and come up with things that they may have never come up with, that the Most High may have never given them, um unless we were in that pandemic period.
Right.
um but I think it's interesting because, so ever since I've been talking about this and presenting this, I've had people on both sides of the spectrum,
Hmm.
where I've had people, people push back because, listen, when I first started talking about this, and as a matter of fact, I think I shared with you guys at the seminar that I actually, afterwards, I ended up moving to, a couple years later, moving to Rwanda.
Yes, yes, yes.
um and I had individuals I was told that was like, your boy Keenan is a black Hebrew Israelite. you know Now, and of course, these are individuals who had not read the book, because in the beginning of the book I say something about how the black Hebrew Israelites are wrong, whatever.
Hmm.
But it's interesting that, because when you have this point of view, this perspective on who we are as the people automatically put you in, this boat where, okay, you must be one of them.
Hmm.
And I try to tell people, listen, I mean, I believe in baptism, but that
Yeah.
doesn't make me a Baptist.
Right.
you know and so, I'm interested to see what happens after you, begin to study and unpack this thing and digest it, and begin to, add it to your curriculum or whatever it is that you do with it. I'm interested to see um what the response will be.
And I should say after I asked permission to after I asked permission to to share some of the information that I am gaining and learning from you and
Ask
your
permission
work.
from who? I mean, this is I mean, listen, this is Bible, man. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
I don't need no permission. I am, trying to do everything I can just to share with as many people as possible, so um that our people might know who we are. I think that your platform, I mean, I'm I tried to go on and to go through the decolonizing the black mind course. But I couldn't. It was something that was asking me to check something on the bottom. We'll talk about that offline or whatever,
Okay. Uh-huh.
in order for me to but I couldn't register for
Okay.
it. Yeah, but so what do you say to that individual, that person who um you will run into, that will reject any conversation about biblical identity, and these individuals may not have ever studied
Mm-hmm.
what it is that you're trying to present. And when I say biblical identity, I'm talking about not just biblical identity, but the liberation movement. All of what you're presenting. What do you say to those individuals who are ready to reject it, um, because their minds have not been decolonized?
In many ways, I am a person that's going to say, well, I'm gonna kick off my the dust off my feet and keep going to those who are looking and are willing to. There's some people that won't be ready,
Yeah.
and that's okay. I only have so coming another thing coming out of the COVID times and things like that. You know that you had less capacity and less energy to kind of.
Hmm.
So I used to get into a whole bunch of arguments and stuff. Someone I was saying online late last week, that it's going to be important for us to continue to boycott Target and to use our energy, resources, and money and things like that
Mm-hmm.
towards building up black businesses and supporting each other and things like that. And someone came on my page and said, other people feel differently and they should be respected and all of that. And I looked at that message, and the person was a former classmate.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't have to respond to it. I don't have to try to convince. They're convinced. They're
Mm-hmm.
convinced of their side,
Mm-hmm.
right? They know where I stand.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come on my page, this is what you're going to get. And so when they're ready, they know where to come.
Yeah. Hey,
And look,
amen.
somebody else may be the better seed planter for them, and maybe God will redirect them
Mm-hmm.
to me at the appropriate time. Yeah, but right now, because I'm not getting into arguments with debating with people and think I'm going to share what God has given me to share, and be a blessing to the body and to the world. And you know, would they say his own received him not, right?
Come
There's
on
there's
now. Come on now. Hey, you gonna have to pray for me because I'm coming out guns blazing.
no, I get it. I'm just looking at a capacity thing, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
it ain't worth it.
it ain't it
Yeah.
ain't it ain't worth, not at this time, unless I
Right.
felt
Right.
felt moved and called to that. Cause look, we were laughing and joking. And we were saying we have yesterday I was talking to my wife and stuff, and we had mentioned that I have uh, close family members. I'm saying telling people, listen, we got to be on code. We can't be watching football and the NFL and going to Target. And look, I'm on all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
As you
Yeah.
might imagine, right? And then you got family members. That's the first thing they do. So you can't.
Mercy.
So even your own is not going to always receive, but that's okay.
Come
That's
on,
okay.
man.
There's going to be other people. That doesn't mean that you don't love them, but
Right.
you can't. But I'll mention Ronnie Vanderhorst again. I remember one time where there was some pushback from some colleagues, and he said, "What you do is write a note to yourself. These are the individuals that are not going to be, if you have to go to war, that they're not going to be the people on your side. Just take that. Just take
Yeah.
that. Take that as a note.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just because we use the same language does not
Mm-hmm.
mean that we're necessarily fighting for the same thing or have the same ideologies or philosophies, which is okay. We love everybody,
Yeah.
but you need to know that if we have to go to metaphorical war, right?
Mm-hmm.
That this person, even though they're using the same language, ain't gonna have your back like that. So just know that. So
What
I
did they
take note.
What do they say? All skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, that's it right there. That's it. Um, Before I get you out of here, tell me what advice would you give to someone who is curious about, um, these particular topics about the colonizing of mind, um, but they may be afraid to question what they've always been taught.
Yeah, so I think there are some initial resources, and I would encourage them to go to our to the Liberation Movement website. The Liberation Movement website is the dash liberation dash movement.com. What you will find there is a bevy of resources that you can access. So we have a reading list that you can access, some things from Carter G. Woodson on to more recent books to kind of get you going as it relates to understanding who you are black person as a black person across the diaspora. I was going to say in America, but
Mm-hmm.
across the diaspora. And then I would encourage you. There are media links we have. I would suspect probably close to 50 videos now
Okay.
related to the liberation movement, where we've interviewed people on issues that have ranged from black education to how to help people. We even have a program called Communiversity that is teaching life skills to our young African American professionals. So it's teaching them how to put a budget together, to buy a car. If
Mm.
you wanted to purchase a house, what are some of your just basic skills you need to be as a productive um, and a decolonized
Mm-hmm.
citizen here in the United States and abroad. And so there is a wealth of resources there. I would lastly encourage you to join the course, the Decolonizing the Black Mind course, because I think that would allow you to kind of have access to. It's a scaffolded approach to um, get you educated on issues related to the black community from both a historical and theological perspective.
Okay. Okay. So let me get you out on this one. Give us what is next for the liberation movement? What is next? What should we look forward to?
So an exclusive. You're gonna get an exclusive. So the big thing that we are working on is a development of a black empowerment think tank.
Okay.
That is the work that we're doing now. And a core part of that is black institution building. So the goal is that uh, how do we empower black folks to create their own nonprofits or for-profit businesses that that meet the needs of our community. So
Mm-hmm.
I am all about the ultimate goal was sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
So with sovereignty, we have to build our own institutions.
Come on, man.
Institutions are, I will say this, institutions are not the end all be all, but it is a core tool in our liberation approach. And so that is what we're excited about. So behind the scenes, that is what our team is working on at the moment.
Awesome, awesome, man. Listen, I appreciate it so much, Dr. Sidney Freeman Jr. for joining us. For those of you who are watching, if you have not done so yet, please like, subscribe, share. Check him out at theliberationmovement.com. I'm going to check him out. I'm going to register because I want to be um, more enlightened on these things that are affecting our community. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.